talking about the other angle for AI, I think initially LLMs were trained on Reddit, and they kind of scraped Reddit and the rest of the internet pretty freely. You know, when was the point where you realized, like, hey, we need to make this into a commercial opportunity, and rather than, yeah, this is like free data for the world?
I don't know if that was quite the way we thought about it.
Hmm.
Um, so Reddit has historically been, and frankly still are, fairly permissive about access to Reddit. Right? Reddit's openness is something that's important to us, and we love about Reddit. We're the last platform that you can broadly access almost all of its content without being logged in. Um, and we've never, though, allowed, the intention was never to allow Reddit's content to be taken for commercial use. So our terms have always basically said something to the effect of, like, you can access Reddit, you're just not allowed to use it for commercial things. Um, and yes, every LLM has used Reddit content either directly or indirectly because it's like the largest repository of accessible human, you know, conversation and interaction and behaviors and all of this information on the internet. And so our reasoning was, well, look, it's the cat's already out of the bag, or the horse is out of the barn, or whatever metaphor works here. Um, can we clean this up? Can we do this on terms that are fair to Reddit the business? And can we put constraints on it that are respectful of our users? And so this is where we created our public content policy, which is kind of our framework in these relationships. So, this includes things like not reverse engineering the identity of our users, not using Reddit's information to target ads, um, allowing content to be deleted, things like that. Um, so it wasn't, it kind of, it's played out the way it has. Um, I think if I knew what I knew now back then, yes, we would have done, I think, a few things differently. But I think the general idea of that Reddit is broadly open, uh, we would not have changed that, right? We still do non-commercial free agreements to researchers, big and small, right? Because we've always believed that the information on Reddit is valuable beyond Reddit, right? It's good for
What would you
humanity
have
and
done
research.
differently?
Um, I think we would have been uh, much more, I think, vigilant about scraping. I think, institutions like Common Crawl sound noble, but they're basically data launderers. And so, they crawl Reddit and then they rehost and resell the data. Not just Reddit, the whole internet. Um, and so that means our data is out there being distributed without our permission, without our users' permission, with no terms on it whatsoever. Um, and they're not the only one. There's a number of groups like that. But I think we would have been m- much less naive about other people, I think, taking advantage of Reddit, taking advantage of our users.